I want to segue on over to our featured guest tonight. He is the Vice President of Communications and Community Affairs for the Miami Dolphins and the Hard Rock Stadium. So, Mr. Jason Jenkins, thank you so much for being our featured guest tonight. How's your Wednesday going?
No, good evening. Thanks for having me. We definitely have to change that for next year, 2023. You'll be front and center for sure.
Oh my God, I have like no Instagram footage or pictures to post because I wasn't there.
We have to change that. That was a miss on our end for sure.
Yeah, we're going to change that. Definitely. So let's get right into it. So tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I grew up in Texas in a sports and entertainment background. My father was a professional football player and a coach. My mother was an educator, and sports and education and entertainment was always in my blood. Went to Texas Tech University out in Lubbock, Texas, was on the football team there, but kind of matriculated to different places, Lehigh University and in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, Texas Southern University, and HBCU back in Houston, Texas, where I was born. And then I got a chance to work for San Francisco with the 49ers, and then now and here in Florida with Miami. So I've been fortunate enough to be in a lot of great cities, a lot of great environments, had a lot of great mentors and people that helped mold and shape me. I started with my parents, and so excited to be in this role where we can impact both the community aspect, but also work with our social media and communications as well.
Is it 2013 or 15 is when you started with the organization?
Yes, I started a while back, even a little later than that. Came here in 2009. I started in football, media relations and communications, setting up player interviews, coaches interviews. But I'm fortunate to be in a place with owner Stephen Ross and vice chairman Tom Garfinkel that saw something in me and helped nurture me and help me grow. And a lot of great mentors in the community as well, too, who I'm sure are listening right now, as well, too, that played a role in my development. So I'm excited to continue to be a role model for them and pay it forward, but also talk about great events like the Formula One event we just had this past weekend.
Yeah, let's get into that part. So how did the relationship blossom with F1 and the Hard Rock Stadium?
Well, when you look at Formula One, which is a global event, it's one of the biggest events in the world. A lot of international reach, a lot of national fans that are being driven to a certain degree through the Netflix series Drive to Survive and a lot of things going on. And getting a chance here when they got a chance to be at Hard Rock Stadium and be at Miami Gardens. Miami is a cultural curator. You talk about art, fashion, food. I want to hear from Chef Ari a little later, as well too. But it was a great fit for us, and having it within our stadium really kind of brought significant impact and community impact for residents as well too. We had over 1,500 tickets for Miami Gardens residents, free tickets. I got a chance to be a part of this event. We had 14 minority-owned restaurants. Through our food relief program starting the pandemic, we started feeding meals out of our stadium each day. But as a result of that, we also work with local Black-owned businesses to pay them and help keep their lights on, keep working through the pandemic. And as a result, we were able to transition them not into our stadium for Dolphins games, but also during this Formula One event. So they got an opportunity to see and get their food tasted by just national, international, local people from around the world as a great way to put some economic impact as well. Yeah. We also had Willie T. Ribs, so put Miami Gardens on the international stage. I mean, this is an event that's in Monaco, that's in Barcelona, that's in, all across the world. And it was great to see Miami Gardens be in the same light as it relates to that. And we're excited to have a 10-year partnership with Formula One and continue to learn, grow, make things better, but also continue to drive a community impact and the brand and put this brand on a worldwide level.
Yeah, this is so huge. So again, it took place this past weekend. So for those that have FOMO like myself, and for those that couldn't make it, what are some of your memorable events or some highlights that you can share with us?
Well, it started just with the event, getting the chance to see the cars and get people to experience that. Just seeing the opening race, the practices and the qualifying, and getting the chance just to see them zip around the stadium, that's something I'll never forget. We had a pit walk and got a chance to see a lot of people came down for this. So you're talking about DJ Khaled, Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, all these different people that you see on there, getting a chance and seeing this event. So it's great to experience that and have our players, Miami Dolphins players, be a part of that. For me, on a personal level, it was gratifying We had a community event the Thursday night with Sir Lewis Hamilton came in, and Naomi Schiff, who's a W Series driver, and W Series is the female-driven series and equivalent there. And getting a chance to have him interact and see Miami Gardens, he reflected on there. He said, "This is the first time, I'm doing an event like this and looking at a crowd that's looking back at me that reflects me, and my culture." So that was extremely gratifying to see as well. So just having the ability to have this community event, showcase what Miami Gardens was about, showcase what the African American community was about, and see Lewis resonate in that way as well too. I think was extremely gratifying, and we're excited for him to be a part of this for years to come, but also to try to grow the sport and not have that you can be the next Lewis Hamilton, but you can also be the next engineer that's designing his car. You can be STEM, you can be on the motor crew. So seeing and trying to inspire these youth to have careers in motorsports, I think was a very gratifying piece of it.
Based on what you said earlier, I do have a few future questions that I want to talk about as far as people of color in this sport and also women as well. And so growing up, this is a personal story and maybe it resonates with other viewers as well. But growing up, Formula One to me, it's a European sport. So that being said, it didn't really cater to me. I'm a woman of color. I'm also Caribbean Jamaican, but it didn't really resonate to me in that aspect. For me, what was really exposed and shown to me was NASCAR, American sport, United States, Jimmy Johnson, Earl, Dale Earnhardt. So it's like, that's what I'm used to seeing. And now there's F1. So my question is, that being said, why did F1 Grand Prix choose to have this event out of all places in Miami?
Well, I think the main thing is they've talked about trying to have a foothold in the United States, and I think, and in our country, and I think when you look at it, they have such a global reach. I mean, when you talk about the international reach, it's similar to like a World Cup, it's similar to like a Super Bowl for us, and I think as they had their expansion plans to really want to make a footprint, they started in Austin, in Texas. They had an event called COTA. They're going to Las Vegas next year, but I think for us, Miami and Miami Gardens was a true area that they wanted to be just because of the amount of what you talked about, the culture, the diversity, the inclusion. And we all know, Miami is an amazing place when you talk about all the different cultures and lifestyles that connect. And so I think it was they're very keen on being down here. I feel that, we worked hard to deliver a great event, still got a lot of work to do, still want to improve on things. But I think the ability to be in this space, and why not Miami? We all either live here, fortunate enough to live and grow up here, or moved here for a reason. And I think having these international type events was the way to go. And if you want to have a foothold in America and really get the culture of the country, you start with Miami. Why not Miami? We all either live here, fortunate enough to live and grow up here, or moved here for a reason. And I think having these international type events was the way to go. And if you want to have a foothold in America and really get the culture of the country, you start with Miami.
Definitely, hence my question. And my other thing is this. So again, I guess when I say locally, within the United States, NASCAR is a sport that we're familiar with. And now with Bubba Wallace, Bubba Wallace, he's like repping for us. NASCAR, he's a man of color, and NASCAR has had its history as far as, sensitive conversations when it comes to race. So now with F1 Formula bringing this down to Miami, Miami is definitely a melting pot, especially with the Black and brown community.
Absolutely.
Now, that being said, to me, and the perception is that sport isn't really targeted to us. So with them bringing that event down to Miami, what kind of impact are they looking to change as far as that? How are they going to spark our interest?
Yeah, I like how you said spark there. That's nice little wordplay when it comes to that. But I think your boss and all of our boss, Dexter Bridgman, he asked that question, when he was down there. And I think the main thing is just exposure and commitment. I'm fortunate enough to be in a role where I am that we were able to, be committed and have this community impact. But also we had a lot of people that either experience this event through the tickets through the Miami Gardens or purchased them, but also media as well too. I mean, Dexter was out there in full force. Tony Lassane, hip rock star with that crew. Cedric Dawkins. We have the Black Advisory Board involved in that, and I think this exposure and this commitment, because it's all the reality is good business. That's the main thing of getting this exposure to our community, the Black and Brown community, is going to pay dividends for that, and having intentional efforts in terms of trying to gain exposure to the sport, education around the sport, and also show what you can be, not just the drivers, but all the other things that go around with putting on this event. It's great. One thing I didn't mention is that we also had 12, interns across a variety of our businesses that were part of this program that were either from residents of Miami Gardens or either went to Florida Memorial University or St. Thomas. So, getting that exposure. And I think this is one of these events that when you go, you get hooked. When you see it, you get hooked. When you get experience, you can see you can grow. And there's also a true business economic impact around there. So again, I just feel it's an opportunity when you see it, when you experience it, you're pretty hooked on it. And that's going to be the goal, especially over these next several years.
Commentators here. So Michelle Ralston goes, our boss, she's referring to Dexter. And then Dexter goes, it was a fantastic experience. So yeah, I did my research. And again, I'm not really that familiar with the whole F1 environment or the racers, but I do know there's a particular Black racer. It's Sir Lewis Hamilton. And I believe he's British. That's why I sound like this. But he is British and quite popular because he is the only Black man that's in this white-dominated male, sport. So, and I believe his background he's Grenadian. Grenadian is his background. Yeah. So definitely more representation is needed. And because of that, him and the Bubbas of the world, like they speak to us. It's like, wait a minute. They're in that sport too. It's not just the NFL. It's not just NBA. We can actually dominate in other sports that is predominantly, it's mainly the white audience. So we're killing it with the tennis. Venus and Serena, thank you so much. Tiger doing it with the golf, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, this is another sport that we can definitely speak to us and know that, yeah, we could be a part of this as well. My next question is this. So again, I did my research. So F1, the sport, it's male dominated. And the last woman to participate in the sport, I believe she was Italian. Her name is Leila Lombardi. And that was 45 years ago. As of right now, today, about 1.5% are women. They're women. So why do you think there is a lack of presence with women being in the sport?
Well, I think that's one of the things that they have a group called the W Series, and that's women, the women's series, and female dominated. So, and there was a great showcase for us there. We actually work with them as a local organization, Women of Tomorrow, that we work with, and we had young ladies and young women get a chance to meet with the drivers, meet with their CEO, and talk about careers and lifestyles in sports, and that specifically with the women's series. So they put on the show for that event, as well. And that's one of the things about this event. We had the Formula One drivers and race, but we also had the W Series had a race, the Porsche Series as well too. I don't know if Dexter put his Porsche in for that one. I thought I saw him out there, but I couldn't tell. But I think there's just quite different opportunities, and I know the W Series is an amazing organization and group that's really making a mark on there. But also, again, showing that exposure, showing that commitment, showing that inspiration to the group, and I just think we're just continuing to grow, especially being down here in Miami.
Right, yeah, because we can do it too. You know what I'm saying? We may be
no
women, we got nails and long hair and everything, but we can definitely ride with the boys, okay? All right. So I know there's a 10-year contract, and I'm looking forward to 2023. So we can definitely visit as a F1 MIA on Instagram, and also just Google F1 Formula Miami Grand Prix, and we'll also see information for next year as well. So what would you tell your younger self, and how old would you be?
Well, tell my younger self is just say whenever you have any trials and tribulations, just continue to have faith. Have a long-term goal, have a long-term objectives. Because when I first started, being out at Texas Tech University, playing sports, I never knew this career, existed. And I think having this ability to have a lot of mentors that poured into me, have a lot of people that looked out for me, care for me, got a chance to learn, grow, fail in different environments, is really helped me to get to where I want to be, and also be an opportunity to help others as well too. And so I think that's the main thing. I never would have thought, growing up, in Missouri City, Texas, never been on a plane before I went to college, to be able to have these experiences, to travel the country, go international with some of the events we've done, and now be a part of not only the Dolphins and the Hard Rock Stadium. When you're talking about Jazz in the Gardens, Rolling Loud, Miami Open, all these different events, and I just think,
OBC,
yeah,
OBC, don't forget OBC.
Orange Boston Classic. You must have went to FAM, in terms of that. But it's just such a thrilling and exciting time to be with this organization, to be here. And I would just pinch myself. And just when you think about the tough times that you might have had, just hey, they weren't as tough as you thought they would be, because you just continue to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Definitely all about exposure and just breaking that cycle. Telling yourself, yeah, I can get out there. I can expose my mind and expand my thinking. And yeah, I can just go after that. That thing that I think I couldn't do, yes, I can totally do it. So,
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And just really admirable. You're a man of color. You're in this role. You're making a change. You're trying to help make a change, especially for us Black and brown people. So thank you so much. Really excited. I look forward to next year. And yeah, I'll see you next year.
No, sure. Yes, absolutely. No question about that. Well, thank you.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. Happy Hump Wednesday, and you have a wonderful night tonight.
Yes, ma'am. You do the same.
Awesome.